The world was at peace, cities glowing with light, children laughing in the parks, and scientists studying the stars as they always did. Humanity had reached a golden age, united under one banner after centuries of conflict. They believed the universe was theirs to explore. Not theirs to fear, but that belief died on a quiet morning. At first, the sky shimmered like a mirage. Satellites across the orbit went silent. Communication systems blinked out one by one. Then, without sound, the clouds split open and something massive appeared. A fleet, black, sharp, and burning with alien light. They came not to speak, not to trade, not to warn. They came to erase. The first strike hit New Delhi, a flash so bright it blinded cameras on the opposite side of the planet. In seconds, millions vanished into ash. Cities followed. Tokyo, Berlin, San Francisco. Every human eye on Earth watched the end begin. No one knew who they were, but humanity named them quickly. The Zorath. Their ships moved like shadows and burned like suns. They didn't answer hails. They didn't spare anyone. Governments collapsed. Armies failed. The world's most advanced defenses, missiles, lasers, orbital cannons, meant nothing. The aliens tore through them as if they were paper. But even as humanity burned, something ancient inside them refused to die. In a bunker beneath the ruins of Washington, D.C., a woman named Admiral Sloan stood over a holographic table. Her face was pale, her eyes red, but her voice was calm. Around her stood the last commanders of Earth's fleets. "They think this is the end," she said, her voice steady. "But this is the beginning." The others looked at her in disbelief. Humanity's navy was shattered, their colonies gone, their hope fading. Yet Sloan smiled, a grim, quiet smile that carried the weight of centuries of human survival. "We are not gods," she said, "but we are humans. We adapt, we endure, and when we strike back, the stars themselves will remember." Beneath her command, the Terran Retribution Project was born. A desperate plan to take the fight to the Zorath home system, hidden in the cold shadows of Mars' orbit. A ship unlike any other was being built. Its name was the Vengeance of Dawn. It was not the largest warship humanity had made, but it was the most dangerous. Forged with stolen alien tech, powered by human fury, and piloted by survivors who had lost everything. Captain Elias Ward, a former astronaut turned soldier, was chosen to lead the mission. He had watched his family die in the first attack, his home turned to dust. His eyes carried a storm that no alien weapon could extinguish. When he first saw the ship, his breath caught. Its hull was black as midnight, etched with light like veins of molten silver. It didn't look human, not anymore. It looked like something reborn from pain. "This ship isn't a weapon," Ward said quietly. "It's a promise." For months, the survivors trained in secret. Scientists worked day and night to decode alien signals, to understand their energy cores, their navigation, their weaknesses. Humanity learned faster than the aliens could imagine. And when the day came, the ship lifted from the red sands of Mars, engines roaring like thunder. The stars trembled as humanity rose again. Admiral Sloan's final message echoed through every remaining station, every outpost, every survivor's heart. "They attacked Earth without warning," she said, her voice carrying through the void. "Now we will answer, and when we do, their stars will burn for it." As the Vengeance of Dawn jumped into hyperspace, humanity's revenge had begun. The Zorath would soon learn the one truth written in blood across all human history. Humanity always strikes last, but never without fury. And the stars would soon remember their name. For 3 seconds, every light outside the Vengeance of Dawn vanished, leaving the ship adrift in a black so deep it felt alive. Then the universe snapped back, and a new sky unfolded, a sea of crimson suns and dark nebulas glowing like ancient wounds. They had arrived in Zorath space. Captain Elias Ward stood at the command bridge, staring at the alien constellations. Each star out there burned with stolen light. Everyone a system conquered by the invaders who had destroyed Earth. He clenched his fists until his knuckles cracked. "This is where it began," he said quietly, "and this is where it ends." The crew around him moved in silence. Engineers whispered commands, pilots adjusted course, and weapons officers powered up systems they had never tested in real battle. The tension in the air felt like a storm waiting to explode. But deep inside the ship, something wasn't right. Dr. Mira Lane, the lead xenotech scientist, stared at her monitors. Her pale face reflected the flickering alien symbols running across her screen. "Captain," she said, voice trembling, "the Zorath network. It's not just communication. It's alive. It's learning from us." Ward turned to her, his eyes narrowing. "Meaning?" "Meaning," Mira said. "The moment we entered this sector, it felt us. It's watching." A ripple of unease swept through the crew, for the first time since leaving Mars. Fear crept in, not of death, but of being hunted. Then it happened. A blinding pulse of light tore across the void. The sensors screamed, alarms howled. 3 Zorath cruisers decloaked around them, massive, spiked ships that looked like floating predators. Their hulls shimmered with energy that bent light itself. "Battle stations!" Ward shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. The first strike hit them like a thunderclap. Shields flared, decks shook, sparks rained down from the ceiling. But the vengeance of dawn did not break. "Fire the rift cannons," Ward commanded. The ship's core roared to life. Twin beams of condensed dark matter erupted from its sides. Slicing through space like blades, one Zorath cruiser disintegrated instantly. Torn apart atom by atom, the second cruiser tried to retreat. But Mira's voice was cold now. "Target its command course," she said. And the next blast reduced it to stardust. Only one remained, wounded but still dangerous. It transmitted a message in a language no human should have understood. Yet the meaning was clear. "You do not belong here." Ward stared at the display, a grim smile forming on his face. "We belong anywhere we choose to fight," he said. "Tell them Earth remembers." The ship fired again, and silence filled the void. When the battle was over, the crew cheered softly, but Mira didn't. She was still staring at her console, a faint glow reflecting in her eyes. "Captain," she whispered, "we didn't destroy them fast enough. They sent something before they died." Ward frowned. "A distress call?" "No," Mira said, her voice hollow. "Coordinates." Outside, in the endless dark, a tear opened in space, a portal larger than any ship they had seen. From within it, something moved, slow and vast. Its shadow blotted out the stars. Admiral Sloane's voice echoed faintly through the comms from far across the system, distorted but steady. "Elias, whatever happens, you must reach the core world. The weapon is there, the one that ended us the first time." Ward turned toward the viewing window, his eyes locked on the black silhouette emerging from the portal. "Then we'll end them before they use it again," he said, his tone sharp as steel. The crew braced for what came next. The vengeance of dawn pushed its engines to full, diving straight toward the unknown. Behind them, the stars burned red. Ahead, the void trembled with the promise of war. Humanity had crossed the point of no return, and somewhere in that endless darkness, the Zorath High Command finally spoke their first words in centuries. "The humans survived," they said. "Then this time, we will make sure they don't." But they had forgotten what humans truly were. Not conquerors. Not invaders, but survivors. And survivors never stop until vengeance is complete. The war for the stars had only just begun. The vengeance of dawn drifted through the ruins of an alien battlefield. Floating corpses of shattered Zorath ships surrounded them like a graveyard of giants. The once silent stars were now veiled in smoke and debris, each fragment glowing faintly from the fury of their last fight. No one spoke. The crew had seen destruction before, but not like this. Every ship here had been torn apart by something bigger. Something older. Captain Elias Ward stood at the viewport, watching pieces of alien armor drift by like fallen leaves. His reflection stared back, haunted. Tired, but unbroken, Dr. Mira Lane entered quietly, holding a datapad close to her chest. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Captain, I decoded the signal from the last battle." Ward turned, and she hesitated. "It wasn't a distress call," she said. "It was a warning to themselves." Ward frowned. "A warning about what?" "The core," Mira said softly. "They called it the Heart of Shadows. It's where their power comes from, but it's not of their creation." Her words froze the air. The Zorath, the monsters who burned Earth, were not the masters of their own weapons. "Show me," Ward said. Mira projected a hologram in the air. A world appeared, black as glass, surrounded by rings of molten light. Lightning storms raging across its surface. At its center pulsed a heartbeat of pure energy. "Alien and alive, the core world," she continued. "This is where their empire began, and where something else sleeps beneath the surface." Ward's jaw tightened. "Then that's where we go." Before the crew could respond, alarms blared. The ship trembled as gravitational waves tore through space, a voice, not through the speakers, but inside their heads, echoed through the corridors. "You should not have come this far. Children of dust." Mira fell to her knees, clutching her head. It's not Zorath," she gasped. "It's older." Ward grabbed her shoulder. "What is it?" She looked up, eyes wide with fear. "The thing beneath their core, it's awake." Outside, the void rippled, stars distorted, bending like reflections in disturbed water. And from within the distortion, a figure emerged, vast and ethereal. A being made of light and shadow, ancient beyond measure. The ship's AI screamed warnings in a dozen languages, systems flickering as if reality itself rejected what was happening. "Captain," the AI stammered, "this entity, its energy signature predates recorded time." Ward clenched his jaw, staring into the storm. "Then maybe it's time someone made it remember what humans are." The being's voice resonated again. Every word a tremor in their bones. "The Zorath were once like you, defiant. Proud, foolish, they touched the heart. And it consumed them." Ward's voice cut through the psychic storm. "Steady and human, then we'll burn the heart before it consumes anyone else." With that, the vengeance of dawn plunged toward the core world, engines howling like thunder. As they descended through the planet's dark atmosphere, they saw cities of the dead, towering spires built from bone and metal, glowing rivers of energy pulsing beneath the surface. The Zorath had built their empire atop a tomb. At the planet's center lay the heart itself, a sphere of black light, beating slowly like a living thing. "The sensors went wild," Mira whispered. It's not just energy, it's conscious." Ward's voice hardened. "Prepare the quantum warhead, Captain. If we detonate that near the core—" "It's not a request," he interrupted. "We end this or no one will." The ship's weapons bay opened, and the warhead armed, its glow reflected in Ward's eyes like fire reborn. But then, from the darkness below, something rose, colossal tendrils of energy. Reaching for the ship, the AI screamed, "It's trying to pull us in!" Mira shouted, "Captain! The heart! It's reading our memories. It's showing it to the Zorath." On the planet's horizon, fleets began to awaken. Millions of ships, dormant for centuries, now stirred to life. Their lights ignited one by one like a galaxy of hate reborn. Ward's voice remained calm. "Then let them come. Humanity didn't start this war, but will finish it." The vengeance of dawn dove toward the surface, fire trailing behind it like a falling star. And as it fell, Mira whispered the one thing no one wanted to hear, "Captain. The heart knows our world, it's seen Earth. It remembers." Ward's hand gripped the console, his eyes burning with fury. "Then let it remember what we do when we're cornered." The stars flickered. The void screamed, and the war for existence began anew. For humanity had not come for mercy. They had come for vengeance. And vengeance was about to shake the stars. The vengeance of dawn plunged through burning skies, its hull glowing red from the fury of the planet below. Lightning tore through the clouds, striking the shields again and again. Each bolt carried an energy not of nature but of memory. Every flash showed glimpses, earth burning, children running, the moment humanity screamed into the void. Captain Elias Ward gripped the controls, forcing the ship through the storm. Behind him, "The crew fought to keep systems alive, shields at 30%, shouted Lieutenant Vega. "Hull integrity failing." Dr. Mira Lane stood at the science station, eyes wide as alien symbols flickered across her screens. "Captain, the heart is reacting to us. It's learning. It's remembering." Ward's voice was low, steady, like steel wrapped in flame. "Then it remembers the wrong species to fight." The clouds broke, and they saw it. The heart of shadows, a colossal sphere of living darkness. suspended above a chasm that split the planet in half. Tendrils of pure energy rose from its surface, reaching for the sky like veins pulsing in time with a heartbeat. But beneath its beauty lay horror. Cities were built around it, massive alien fortresses carved from bone and glass, filled with billions of Zorath, chanting in their guttural tongue, feeding the heart their life force. "This isn't a power source," Mira whispered. "It's a prison. The Zorath aren't feeding it. They're keeping it asleep." Ward turned sharply. "You're saying they didn't create it?" She nodded, her voice trembling. "No, Captain. They found it, long before they attacked Earth. For a moment, silence filled the bridge, the truth cut deeper than any blade. The monsters who had destroyed Earth weren't the masters. They were slaves." Before Ward could speak, a massive tremor shook the ground. The heart pulsed, and every Zorath city around them went dark. The chanting stopped, the light died, and then the whispers began. Voices, thousands, millions, echoed through the comms. Through the hull, through their minds. "We remember the blue world. We remember fire and fear. We remember the children of Earth." Mira's face went pale. "Captain, it knows us. It knows Earth." Ward's voice turned to a whisper. "How?" The hologram on Mira's console flickered, revealing ancient recordings. Human ships, human voices, human symbols, all from thousands of years before Earth's known history. "What is that?" Vega gasped. Mira's voice broke. "It's us, Captain. These are human ships, old beyond imagination. Humanity has been here before." The room fell silent. The sound of the heart's pulse grew louder, faster. The realization struck them like a tidal wave. Humanity had not discovered the stars. They had returned to them. The Zorath had found the heart buried beneath their world, and with it, fragments of an ancient human empire, one that had burned itself to ash long before history began. The Zorath had tried to control it, to hide it, but when modern humanity sent signals into the void, the heart had heard them again and awoke. The first attack on Earth had not been conquest. It had been fear. "They struck first," Ward murmured, his voice heavy. "Because they were afraid of us waking what we created." Mira nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. "The heart isn't alien, Captain. It's human." The words hung in the air like ghosts. Before they could speak again, the planet shuddered violently. The heart erupted with light. The void itself screamed. Every Zorath ship above the atmosphere activated. Thousands of warships formed a wall of fire around the planet. "Locking onto Vengeance of Dawn, Captain," Vega shouted. "We're surrounded. Every Zorath ship is converging." Ward looked up, unflinching. "Good," he said coldly. "Let them come." They wanted to stop the old humanity from rising. Now they'll face the new one. The ship's engines roared to life. The sky filled with plasma fire, explosions lighting up the horizon like dying stars. Ward stood tall, voice echoing across the bridge. "Open every gun, load every torpedo. If the heart is ours, then so is this war." The first wave hit, the Vengeance of Dawn fired back, cutting through the swarm like a blade through glass. Every explosion painted the sky in human defiance. But deep below, within the heart, something else began to move. A colossal shape, humanoid, ancient, and made of molten light, rose from within the core. It was neither alien nor God. It was human-made, and its voice shook the world. "You woke me too soon," it said. "You always do." Mira stared in horror. "Captain, that's not a machine. That's a memory of us, an echo of what we once were." Ward's eyes burned with purpose. "Then it's time we reminded it what we are now." As the heart's guardian opened its eyes, the Vengeance of Dawn prepared its final strike. Humanity was no longer fighting for revenge. It was fighting for the truth of its own creation, and in that truth lay the power to destroy everything. The heart pulsed one final time, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The planet trembled beneath the weight of awakening. The heart of shadows no longer pulsed. It roared. Each beat a thunderclap that shook the heavens. The Vengeance of Dawn hung above it like a spark before a storm. Her armor cracked, her engines bleeding light. Yet her will unbroken, Captain Elias Ward stood at the command bridge, staring at the impossible sight below. A giant was rising from the heart, a figure of molten metal and flame, its eyes burning with memories of a forgotten age. It wasn't alien, it wasn't alive, it was us. Dr. Mira Lane's voice trembled as she whispered, "Captain, that thing, its energy signature matches human DNA. It's built from our code." Ward's jaw clenched, his voice low and grim. "Then that thing is the shadow of who we were." The creature's voice echoed through the void, not through speakers, but directly into their minds. "Once we were gods. We built the stars, then we burned them." The bridge went silent. The crew could feel its sorrow, its rage, its loneliness. It wasn't a weapon, it was a ghost. Ward took a step forward. "Identify yourself." The being's molten face turned upward, eyes glowing like dying suns. "I am the keeper of the heart," it said. "Born from the ashes of old Terra, you were never meant to return." The words hit like a hammer. The Zorath hadn't feared humanity's rise. They had feared humanity's memory. Mira spoke softly. "Captain, the heart isn't a weapon of destruction. It's a vault. It holds the mind of the ancient Terrans. They created it before their fall. To remember everything." Ward's voice was quiet. "And now it remembers us." The Guardian's voice deepened, shaking the very air. "Your kind was forbidden from rising again. Your wars consumed galaxies. You left nothing but ruin." Ward's fists tightened, his heart pounding with fury. "We're not them," he shouted. "We're what came after, those who rebuilt." Those who survived, those who learned. The Guardian paused, the fire in its chest flickering. "You claimed change," it said slowly. "Prove it." Before Ward could respond, alarms blared. "Captain!" Vega cried. "Zorath fleet's incoming!" Thousands of ships, everyone heading straight for us. On the horizon, space itself caught fire. The alien armada blotted out the stars, their weapons lighting up like a swarm of suns. Mira looked at Ward. "If the Guardian sides with them—" Ward interrupted. "It won't." He looked straight into the glowing eyes below. "You wanted proof?" He said, "Watch us fight for what we've become." The vengeance of dawn dove into the firestorm. Every cannon, every railgun, every missile unleashed hell. The first wave of Zorath ships disintegrated, burning to ashes before they could return fire. "Target the flagships," Ward ordered. "We end this now." But as the Zorath fleet closed in, something strange happened. The Guardian turned its gaze toward the alien ships, its eyes burning with cold judgment. "You betrayed the oath," it thundered. "You were meant to protect the seed, not destroy it." The Zorath commanders screamed through the comms, their signals filled with panic and fear. "It sees us! It remembers!" The Guardian raised its arms. The heart flared to life, and from its core burst a wave of light that tore across the sky. Every Zorath vessel it touched dissolved into particles of ash. Ward shielded his eyes from the brilliance. The ship shuddered as the wave passed through it. But Vengeance of Dawn remained intact, untouched, Mira whispered. "It spared us." Ward exhaled slowly. "Then it knows the truth." The Guardian looked up once more, its form beginning to crack, molten pieces falling away like burning tears. "You have learned what your ancestors could not," it said, Mercy, but then its tone changed. Deep and pained, the heart is dying. Mira's console screamed warnings. "Captain, the core is overloading. It's going to collapse into a singularity." Ward turned to the crew. "All hands, prepare for emergency warp." "Captain," Mira shouted, "if the heart collapses, it'll destroy everything within this sector, including the Zorath homeworld." Ward looked at the dying Guardian. "Then maybe that's what it wants." The Guardian's voice was fading now. "End the cycle," it whispered. "Do not become what we were." And with that, the Guardian shattered. The heart erupted one final time, its energy spiraling upward like a dying sun. Ward slammed his fist on the console. "Now!" The Vengeance of Dawn jumped into warp, the explosion chasing them through hyperspace. A wave of light and fire tearing through the system behind them. As the stars stretched into lines, the crew watched the Zorath Empire vanish in a single, silent flash. For a moment, there was peace. Mira whispered, "Did we win?" Ward's voice was low, almost distant. "No, we survived." But deep within the ship's systems, a faint pulse appeared on Mira's monitor, a flicker of data. Ancient and human, it was a voice, faint but clear. Speaking in Old Terran, if you are hearing this, then humanity has returned, and the stars will never forget their makers. Ward stared at the screen, silent, knowing the war was far from over. For somewhere in the darkness beyond known space, another heart had begun to beat. The universe was silent again. After the heart's destruction, no one cheered. The vengeance of dawn floated through the gray emptiness of deep space, her hull scorched and her crew too tired to speak. Humanity had survived, but something felt wrong. The silence was not peace. It was waiting. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge, the dim blue light of the monitors painting shadows under his eyes. Dr. Mira Lane worked beside him, replaying the final transmissions from the heart. Her fingers trembled over the console, Captain, she said quietly. The signal didn't die with the explosion. It fractured, split into 7 parts, and each one went to a different sector of the galaxy. Ward turned, his voice rough from exhaustion. 7? Yes, Mira replied. 7 echoes, each carrying fragments of the heart's code. And our DNA? Ward's eyes narrowed. Our DNA? Mira nodded slowly. The heart scanned us before it died. It copied what we are. The meaning hit like a cold blade. Somewhere out there, something ancient and now human was being born. Before they could process it, the ship's AI spoke, its tone uneasy. Incoming transmission. Source unknown. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a face none of them recognized. A woman or something that looked like one. Her skin shimmered like metal. Her eyes glowed with starlight. Children of Earth, she said softly. Your awakening has begun, Ward's heart pounded. Who are you? I am Lyra, she replied. One of the 7, born from the heart's memory and your blood. We were meant to guide you back, but now we must judge you. Mira's voice shook. Judge us? For what? Lyra tilted her head, her expression unreadable. For repeating the sin of creation, you destroyed the heart to save yourselves. Yet in doing so, you unleashed us. Her image crackled. Distorting into static, Ward clenched his jaw. If you're part of humanity, then you know what we stand for. Survival, Lyra's voice turned cold. Survival without wisdom is tyranny reborn. The transmission ended. Leaving the bridge in stunned silence, Vega whispered, Captain. What if she's right? Ward looked at the stars ahead, each one burning with quiet menace. Then we'll prove her wrong again, moments later. The ship's sensors screamed, multiple contacts dropping out of warp. 7 signatures, each enormous, each one radiating energy like a living sun. Mira stared at the readings, disbelief written across her face. They're not ships, Captain. They're living constructs, each with human neural patterns. The stars outside flickered as the 7 appeared. Colossal forms of light and metal shaped like gods. One spoke through the comms, its voice layered with thousands of tones. The new humanity must be tested. Ward's voice cut through the air. We've been tested enough. The first construct fired. A beam of white energy slicing across space. The vengeance of dawn rolled hard. The beam skimming her shields and melting part of the hull. Return fire! Ward barked, the ship's cannons roared, missiles streaking across the void. But when they hit, the constructs only shimmered. They weren't fighting to destroy, they were measuring. They're learning from us, Mira said, panic in her tone. Adapting faster than any AI we've ever seen, Ward's voice hardened. Then we stopped thinking like humans. He ordered all power rerouted to the warp drive. The ship dove between the giants, weaving through beams of annihilation, heading straight toward the center, where the largest construct hovered. Lyra, she spoke again, her voice echoing through every system. Elias Ward, you carry the fire of the first Terrans. You can choose, destroy us and repeat their fall, or stand with us and let humanity evolve. Ward stared at her image. Torn between rage and awe, evolve into what? Lyra smiled faintly. Into what you were always meant to be, creators of eternity. Mira shouted, Captain, her energy output's rising. She's opening another heart. The void trembled, a massive vortex forming behind Lyra. Its pull grew stronger, dragging ships, debris, and even light toward it. Ward's decision came in a heartbeat. Target her core, full charge, Captain. If we destroy her, I know, he said, voice sharp as steel. Do it anyway, the vengeance of dawn fired. The beam hit Lyra dead center. For a moment, the stars went white, then everything shattered. When the light faded, Lyra was gone. The vortex collapsed. The other constructs vanished into the dark. Mira whispered. Did we kill her? Ward shook his head, eyes fixed on the empty stars. No. We woke her. A faint signal began to blink on the console, repeating a single phrase in a language both alien and human. We are the echoes of your beginning, and we will be there at your end. Ward turned away from the screen, his voice low. Plot a course for Earth. The ship moved into the darkness. Leaving behind a galaxy trembling with new life, the stars were no longer silent. They were whispering, waiting, remembering. Because humanity had not just survived the gods, it had created them. And the next war would not be fought for survival. It would be fought for the right to exist. The stars were no longer silent for months. Every human signal across the galaxy carried the same strange echo, a voice whispering through the static, ancient and beautiful, repeating one message again and again. We are awake. On Earth, the once blue planet now rebuilt under steel and storm. People looked to the skies with fear and awe. The vengeance of dawn had returned a hero, but what it brought back was not peace. It was prophecy. Captain Elias Ward stood before the High Council of Humanity, the first united government since the Great War. His uniform was torn, his eyes shadowed with exhaustion, yet his voice burned with the same defiance that had led humanity into the void. They're not our enemies, he said, his tone firm. They're our reflection. The council chamber erupted in noise. Generals shouted, politicians whispered. Some demanded the creation of new weapons, others wanted surrender. Dr. Mira Lane stood beside him, her voice calm but filled with urgency. The Seven aren't invincible, she said. But they aren't evil either. They were made by us, from us. They carry the memories of our past, a voice from the crowd snapped back, and they'll destroy us for it. Ward's jaw tightened. Only if we give them a reason. But even as the debate raged, the stars outside Earth's orbit began to shimmer. The alarms sounded before anyone could move. The sky split open. And from the void emerged something massive. Lyra, reborn, but changed. Her body was no longer pure light and metal. It was flesh and flame, wrapped in golden armor. Her voice thundered across every channel. Every city, every mind, children of Earth. Your trial begins. The room fell silent. The war humanity thought it had ended was just beginning. Ward looked up, his heart steady, his resolve iron. Then let's show her what humanity truly is. The fleets of Earth rose into the sky. Thousands of ships launched from orbit, forming a wall of light around their homeworld. The vengeance of dawn led the charge, her hull newly reforged, her weapons blazing with the fury of every fallen world. Lyra watched from above, her golden eyes filled with sadness. You still choose war, she said. Ward's voice echoed through the comms. No, we choose freedom. The first exchange lit the sky like the birth of a star. Lyra's constructs moved like gods, bending gravity and light, shattering ships with gestures. But humanity had learned. Every loss had been turned into a lesson. Every defeat into evolution. Evasive pattern delta. Vega shouted, all ships, fire plasma volleys and phase shift torpedoes. Explosions rippled through space. Blinding light flashing across the void, Lyra raised her hand, the energy forming around her like a halo. But before she could strike again, the vengeance dove straight toward her heart, Captain, Mira cried. You can't survive that approach. Ward's eyes burned. If this is how we end, then we end reminding the stars who we are. The ship pierced through waves of energy, her armor melting, her engines screaming. Every sensor went red, every alarm blared. Prepare the Nova Core, Ward ordered. We hit her with everything we've got. The AI's voice trembled. Captain, detonation at this range will destroy the ship. Ward smiled faintly. We've died before. The vengeance of dawn reached Lyra's chest. Her face flickered with emotion, fear, recognition, grief. Elias. Stop, she said softly. You're not fighting me. You're fighting yourself. Ward paused, fingers hovering above the console. Mira turned to him, her voice breaking. "Captain, what if she's right? What if this is how the first humanity destroyed itself?" Ward looked at her, then at the stars outside. He remembered Earth's first burning, the faces of the lost, the silence of the void. "We are not the first," he said quietly. "But we can be the last." He lowered his hand, not to fire, but to open communication, Lyra, he said. "If we were meant to be gods, then we failed long ago. But if we were meant to be human, then this is what it means." Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Her eyes dimmed, her armor cracked. "Then prove it," she whispered. And she reached out, touching the ship for a moment. Everything froze, time, light, space itself. The human fleet, the alien remnants, even the stars, all stood still. Ward saw flashes, ancient worlds, burning empires, the first Terrans creating the hearts, the collapse of the old humanity, and then a spark. A second chance, Earth reborn. Lyra's voice echoed softly. "You are not our end. You are our beginning." The light consumed everything. When it cleared, the vengeance of dawn floated silently in orbit. The seven were gone. The heart was gone. But humanity was still there. Alive, whole, and free, Mira whispered, "Captain." "What happened?" Ward looked out the viewport, his expression unreadable. "We were forgiven." In the distance, the stars pulsed one by one, like the rhythm of a sleeping giant. Humanity had survived the gods, and in doing so had become something greater. No longer conquerors, no longer prey, but the keepers of balance. As the vengeance of dawn turned back toward Earth, Ward's voice carried softly through the ship. "They attacked us once, they made us monsters, but we learned. We don't have to stay that way." The stars shimmered as if they were listening. And for the first time in millennia, the galaxy was at peace, because humanity had not just avenged itself, it had redeemed itself, and the stars would remember forever.